The Chris Johnston Show.
Let's go!
Your number one destination for a behind-the-scenes look at the game of hockey.
Is this thing on?
Here's NHL insider Chris Johnston and host Julian McKenzie.
This was the wrong January to do dry January.
Oh, man. Guys, we're really excited. First off, I can't believe this many people showed up. It's for Chris Johnston, man. This isn't his hometown. This is your home show, man. Like, I can totally believe that we'd be able to pack out a room at Boston Pizza to see one of the best insiders in sports, period, do his thing, man. Give yourselves a round of applause, guys. Like, thank you all for coming, man.
We couldn't pull this off in Newtonville or anything like that.
I don't know where that is.
You got
I don't
GPS.
know what Newtonville. I have never been to Cobourg. I've driven by it. I've been on trains and you see Cobourg, oh, that looks like a nice place. This is my first time in Cobourg, and the first place I end up at is your dad's house. Also, by the way, for people who are very big on CJ Show lore and know about the legend of Cobourg Papa, he is here tonight, everybody. Shout out Cobourg Papa, man. Amazing.
And you walk into his house and he says, "Can I make you a sandwich?" And you said yes.
Yes. Who am I to tell him no? Thank you for the sandwich. What was on it? Smoked meat. Yes, he had smoked meat. He was very hospitable. Thank you so much, Cobourg Papa, the legend, the absolute legend. Show him some love. Show him some love. Wait. Are we good setup-wise? Are we actually recording right now? We're good? So, I want this show to be we'll get to actual hockey stuff and all that, but I want you to tell us some stories about young CJ and Cobourg. I want to know why this place means so much to you, man. Why are you the? I know we can't say the Drake of Cobourg anymore, like what's on the Twitter header, but why are you the dude in Cobourg?
Well, don't go right for the feels to start, but I mean,
Well, of course, that's all I'm about.
The truth is, my years in Cobourg were those were awkward years, right? I mean, I lived here until I was 18, so I mean, I'm getting right now flashbacks. I did a little bit of student council work in high school. I'm so old, my high school no longer exists. It was called the West Collegiate back in the day. But,
oh, y'all got smoke for your school? What is this?
But I'm getting flashbacks to being on stage in high school with it, nervous as hell because I weirdly feel so nervous right now. But why? I mean, because I had a great childhood, man. I mean, and so much of it is because of the place and the people I met. And quite honestly, my best friends still to this day are all people I know from Cobourg. Very few of them live here, although one of them does. Kristen McDonald, right up front here.
Woo!
I think we met in about kindergarten or grade 1, actually, and still know each other. But it's really is a special place with special people, and I'm one of the lucky ones that, as you get older, I think you look back and you're proud of your family, and I'm proud of where I'm from because, I honestly I didn't have very many bad days as a kid. It's I'm really privileged to say that, and I think a lot of that is because of Cobourg, and I'm back here all the time. I'm usually chilling, eating sandwiches at Cobourg Papa's house when I'm here, it's just a special place is the easiest way to say it.
That's awesome. How far are we from the Wendy's you used to work at?
It's a short walk. And if you were coming there in the middle of the night on a Friday back in the day, I might throw a few extra cheeseburgers in your bag. So if I knew you anyway. We were throwing that meat out anyway, bud. I don't mean that I was.
Whoa.
I'm not advocating stealing by any stretch.
Whoa, okay.
But do you know what's funny? You're staying at the Best Western. I don't want to.
I am.
I don't want to dox you in case anyone.
You already did.
It's case.
So yeah, guys, party at my hotel room at the Best Western. After this is over, drinks on CJ.
But this is a real story. So when Wendy's opened in Cobourg, it was a job you wanted to get if you were me, and they had a job fair at that Best Western. And that's where I went and did my interview and got my job at Wendy's. So you are getting the real. I mean, you're only asking all these questions about Cobourg. Anyone who's local here will know. If you go anywhere, you could have a story about it because there's only so many places to go. But
okay, I have a question. When young CJ, if he felt you wanted to go up to some nice little girl in class and take her out to the movies.
So
Where you
don't
going?
stop right there. I don't even know what.
Where's the date spots in Cobourg, man? No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure there are date spots in Cobourg, but I can assure you I was not visiting them in those years of my life. So,
well, I don't know.
I don't want to portray.
I want to know.
Well, again, anyone who's known me, I was very awkward in those years. So, if there were date spots, I was not part of anyone going there.
All right, give me another fun story from young CJ in Cobourg.
Oh, you got to set me up a little better. I mean, what do you want to know about?
Okay,
I mean,
okay. Give me. Oh,
that's pretty vast.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, Adam Wilde, tell me about something that happened in an 18-year period of your life. Just pick anything at random. What are you thinking about?
All right. What about like a high school memory that stands out to you?
Oh man.
I heard that. There you go.
Did he have any dates?
Come on. You didn't have one date?
Why are we going here? Like, what is?
Damn.
I'm a middle-aged man. Like, there's some things just be left in the past.
So that's a no.
No, not many dates.
All right. What about like I don't know, like you've certainly had nights with your boys in Cobourg, and you wanted to get up to no good or something.
Well, I don't know what's appropriate. I mean, I certainly spent some nights in farm fields.
Farm fields. What are you doing in farm
Again,
fields?
I'm guessing the youth of today are better behaved than my group was, but I don't know. I don't know how the word used to get out. Like, I lived here kind of pre-internet. Like, the internet came around, but I lived here pre-cell phone for me anyway. And so I don't know how the word would get around, but somehow you'd always know one of a couple random fields or spots if you were looking for trouble on a Friday night. And I found a little bit of that. But, honestly, it was... Here's the thing, like, you grew up in a city, you could probably get in more trouble. Like, there was only so much trouble to get into, if you know what I'm saying.
I was also a good kid growing up. I didn't get in trouble.
I'm not even saying I was a good kid. I was a bored kid, too, right? Like, there wasn't... I probably was capable of doing a lot more, but, I didn't have a cell phone. It was, like, 1997, and they're like, hey, go to this farm field.
Well, so what were you
So
guys
as many
doing in the
beers
farm
as you
field?
can carry is about what I could drink.
So you're just, like, underage drinking in a farm field?
Yeah. Like, that was what it was. I mean, that was the point.
Yeah. That sounds like fun.
I mean, I feel...
Was it just alcohol?
Yes, for me. I
Okay,
mean, I
just want that for the record. No
Jeez,
drugs.
man. I told you to keep it clean. It's like 4 questions in. It's like, who did you date?
We're trying to have fun here, people. Are we all having fun? Come on. He's having fun, too.
My partner's not having as much fun maybe now.
What about, like, athletics, like playing sports? Like, where were some of the spots where young CJ could get his fix there?
Well, Pad 1 was still open in these days, Julian. This is, again, the true measure of your age. It's like your hockey arena's closed down, your high school's closed down. Like, a lot of I would love to take you by these things, but they're now abandoned buildings, and there's, like, police tape around them or something. So I would love to take you on CJ's tour of Cobourg, but some things have moved on.
Kind of did, like, when after we left your dad's place, you were kind of driving me around the waterfront.
Yeah, I drove you by the beach.
Beautiful.
It's
very scenic.
It is scenic, and that's actually when I encounter people, living in Toronto now that know Cobourg. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, man, I've been to the beach. That's a great spot for my kids. I love that beach."
That's nice.
So it does seem like a selling point from the outside. But yeah, I mean, I was very unspectacular hockey player. Played a lot of house league, pretty much every year when I was a kid. But to end up doing the sort of job I do, obviously I fell in love with the sport, and I was pretty obsessed, from a young age. And, especially when I was a real young kid, I was playing road hockey all the time. I grew up on Westwood Drive, not too far from here. Again, we could walk there tonight if you wanted.
We should.
To. We don't even need a car.
We should.
And don't try to get an Uber because there is no Ubers.
I didn't even think about that.
But we could walk there and played a lot of road hockey there. Did play minor hockey right through until I was 18, but was not threatening. My path to the NHL was very clearly not going to be through the ice. So
When did you know your path was going to be through journalism and not ice hockey, playing it?
Well, look, when I was 5 or 6, I started to say I wanted to be a reporter. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know how to get there. But I I just said it. I think I said it long enough that eventually I convinced myself it was going to happen. But honestly, until I went to the very first game I got to cover as a reporter, working media, was during the 2002 playoffs. It was a Leafs-Ottawa game, Game 5. For any other olds in here, you might remember Daniel Alfredson hitting Darcy Tucker from behind and scoring the winning goal in that game. That was the first game. That was the first game I was ever at in a reporter. But I was 20 at the time, and I was like, that's until I actually got there, I probably didn't believe it was real. And even then, you go once, it's like you get that good first date, but you don't know if they're calling you back. So, it took a long time, but I've been really lucky because from that point on, I haven't worked. My last real job was at Wendy's. In all seriousness, like I've since I stopped working at Wendy's, I've got paid to be a hockey journalist for 20 odd years now.
That's so cool. Do you have like one fun Wendy's story?
Yeah. I mean, so I was closing a lot when I was at Wendy's, which was great because obviously I had to go to school. But one year they brought in this thing, and you could see it there, and it was a countdown clock. And every time a car pulled up in the drive-thru, yeah, Bruce knows the story. Every time the car would come to the drive-thru, the clock would start, and then once that person cleared the drive-thru, you get a time. And we were probably shitty. I have no idea, but it's weird when you're an employee. First of all, I'm a teenager. I'm not a deep thinker. Not today, but especially at that point in my life. And all of a sudden, your boss is like, hey guys, I can see this. And the boss isn't even there at night, right? And all of a sudden they can be like, hey, why'd this guy spend $2.45 in the drive-thru? So, we got this great idea. We used to have this metal cart that we would use to bring in all the fry boxes and everything, like a big dolly. And we learned that if you walked through the drive-thru with the dolly, it actually dinged and it registered. And so one night we just went out there and just ran circles through the drive-thru with the dolly to bring down our average time because we were getting it was like a 10-second drive-thru hit, 15-second drive-thru hit. Again, I'll spare you. The obvious question is, why didn't one of you get in your car and just drive through? I don't know. We thought maybe it was the perfect crime with the dolly. I don't we thought it was somehow better. But then the next time I'm at work, the guy who ran the Wendy's, and I don't know if he still does, he calls us in because he's like, head office is wondering what you guys are doing. You guys have the best drive-through times in Canada. What is the Cobourg Wendy's doing? They are just killing the drive-through times. And eventually, I think they looked a little closer, scrutinized what we were doing, and then we all got in shit. So that was, I had a lot of great, that was a fun time, but there's a lesson there. You don't want to be too good if you're gonna, I don't know what the lesson is. Don't do that. I don't know why we did that.
Did you keep your job after that?
Oh yeah, I mean it was harmless.
Wow, you see that? That's amazing.
There's only so many kids who want to clean bathrooms at 11 p.m. at a Wendy's. There wasn't an endless supply of me out there, so it was a give and take in that job.
Man, the fact that you were able to take that on and you have been able to turn yourself into the success story you are, I mean, that's amazing.
I mean, come on. It's actually hilarious, but I was
hilarious,
scared.
but amazing.
I did not like getting in trouble.
I'm the same
I don't
way.
know if anyone...
I hate being that.
Yeah, some people are good. I was not good at getting in trouble.
Nah.
I lived in fear of getting in trouble. So getting called in the owner's office and he's like, hey, what's with all these 6-second times? I was like, I don't know. They just wanted fries. I mean, we were ready to go.
You must have been shit in your pants.
Yeah.
How does it feel knowing where you're at in your career now, and obviously with your dad still living in Cobourg, I know you go back regularly, but how does it feel to go back to your town, knowing where you're at in your life, and just where you're at? Is there a cool feeling you feel as a obviously?
Where am I at, man?
Yeah.
Are you saying I'm on the verge of retirement here
No,
or what?
I'm just trying to. I just think obviously the fact that you grew up here, you did everything you did, and then you go off to university and you become a big time journalist, and now you come back. This is. I just wonder what that feeling's like.
Well, I love coming here, honestly. We're going to go skate on the Frink tomorrow downtown. I feel really lucky, obviously. And it's cool my dad's still here because it keeps me coming to Cobourg, too. So, it would be weird if I wasn't I mean, I come literally every month, man. Like this is normal. Even in COVID days, like the first time I went to a bar in the COVID days was Kelly's, which is downtown, because I was coming to visit my dad and like there was nothing else to do. So we walked to Kelly's, and like it was definitely when you still weren't supposed to go to bars, but you know, it was harmless here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We won't tell anybody about that. What other cool places are there to like go out? Like what's another cool bar?
Cat and the Fiddle's back.
Yeah.
Someone said Cat and the Fiddle over here.
CJ's
CJ's Tap and Grills across the street. Used to be Casey's.
Boston Pizza Cobourg, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Of course.
Naturally. We're not advertising. Hey, everyone leave this place. We're all in. This is brilliant.
Shout out Boston Pizza Cobourg for hosting us, by the way. As someone who, look, don't mind me. As someone who's never been to Cobourg until like 2 hours ago, I just want to know as much of the lay of the land as you can give me.
I'm just worried if you ask for the fourth thing to do, I'm not gonna have an answer. Like, you've been to my dad's house, you've seen the beach, you've seen Boston Pizza. I mean, there's a Starbucks now.
We haven't been to the field yet.
Yeah, we haven't gone to the field.
We haven't gone to the field.
My point is, you know, and I'm not hating on it, but
no.
If you're looking for attractions, you've found the wrong town. No. You know.
Well, you're still your town though. Like you can't dump on your town like that.
It's not a dump on. It's a route. You know. Do you saw the shirt that I put out? That I think the art gallery put it out here. It's like London, New York, Paris, Cobourg.
I love that.
There's
shirt.
some intentional irony in that. If you're from Cobourg, man, you recognize we do not have, you know, the Eiffel Tower for you to come take a photo at.
Oh man. Is there any other Cobourg story you want to bring up before I decide to play a game? With you and everyone else.
Let's jump in the game, and I'll think of it more naturally. I should have thought of more stories ahead of time.
That's okay. I thought you came up with some really fun ones.
Yeah, Wendy's. I hope no one's listening. Oh, man.
Okay. I have, for those who follow CJ on The Athletic, you know about his occasional trade boards. He put out one a couple days ago, NHL Trade Board 3.0. There's a couple names on that list. I'm going to go through some names on that list. And on a scale of 1 to 5, you tell me how likely they're going to get traded. Like 1 being like, maybe not. And I get they're on the board, so it's possible. But like, I'm sure there are guys lesser known maybe than more.
So one is low, 5 is high?
5 is high.
Likelihood?
But
okay.
if there's a guy who you're like, oh yeah, he's gone, I want you to give me a CJ 8. Give me an 8. CJ 8. There we go.
Julian, you're going to get traded, man. We got a blockbuster going down with the SDP actually right now.
It's going to get off the sit. No, I'm playing. All right. That sound like fun? How about that? And if there are other names that we want brought up, they don't have to be on the board. They could just be anyone that comes to mind. We're okay with you guys blurring out some names when it gets to that point. We can do that.
Yeah. I mean, any questions are good, man.
Yeah. Okay, what about, let's start with Chris Kreider from the New York Rangers. Give me 1 to 5. How likely is he going to get traded?
I think that's a lower one nowadays.
It's a lower one.
I mean, what's the analogy to draw here?
Okay.
His GM sent a note around a month and a half ago saying, hey, we want to trade this guy. And a month and a half later, he hasn't been traded. So not a good sign. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like when your dating profile isn't getting a lot of action, you know what I mean? So I'm saying 2 for Chris Kreider.
Okay. What about Brock Nelson? I know there's a couple Leafs fans who want Brock Nelson on their team.
Adam, do you want Brock Nelson?
Do you want Brock Nelson on your team? Why do you want him on your team, man? Okay. All right.
Would you drive to the airport to pick him up?
Would you drive? Who wants Brock? If you're a Leafs fan, who wants Brock Nelson on their team? All right. 1 to 5.
The Leafs want him on their team too. So at least you're in alignment with what they want to do.
Okay.
But I want to be tall, dark, and handsome, and I can't achieve all those things. So I will just say that it's very likely he's traded, but if I had to guess the team, I don't want to disappoint Adam. Would you drive him from downtown to the practice rink through Toronto traffic every day if that's what it took?
Okay, we're going to try to get Adam Wild's mic on.
To be honest with you, yes, I think I would. I've got a stick over here because it's going to hum. But yes, I would do whatever it took to get. But I feel like I'd have to drive Lou Lamoriello wherever he wanted to get him to agree to trade a player to Toronto. Is that true?
Yes. You should get to New York soon and start working on Lou. Take him to some Italian restaurants. Have 1 glass of red wine. That's Lou's thing. Lou will drink a little bit. The secret to, he's still working into his early 80s, but very modest, very moderate.
Good for him. Did you give what number did you give for
5 that he's moving.
5 that he's moving. All right, you're
But
giving 5.
I'm trying to let you down lightly that it might not be to your city.
Okay, that's very fair. What about John Gibson out in Anaheim? His name's been kind of around for a bit.
We'll go for 4 for him.
Oh.
He's finally playing well enough that I think it's possible. He's close enough to the end of his deal. And frankly, there's a better goalie in their system now in Lucas Dostal. So I think that all those 3 things, they traded Cam Fowler this year. I think it's finally time for him.
Okay. Rasmus Ristolainen in Philadelphia.
I mean, they won't. Again, if it's them, it's CJ8. I don't know if he's going to land. So I think pretty good. 4. I'll give him a 4.
Okay. You know what? We're going to get to those guys anyway. I'll start to go through 1. Elias Pettersson.
1 now.
Ooh. Why 1?
I think they're going to trade JT Miller.
So. So wait. JT Miller, are you going to give it a 5 or are you going to give it a...
I'm not taking him all the way to an 8. I know
Okay.
you want me to just yell. We're ruining dinners over here. Thank you, everyone who wants to be here. But there's like some people here, and they're like, it's Friday night. What's going on? 5,
Was this guy yelling?
It's supposed to be a safe time to take your
Supposed
kids.
to be a
and eat dinner.
family place.
I know you want me to
first
yell,
date. Anyway.
but I'm going to keep him at 5 because I feel like if you're pulling out the CJ8, it's got to be like I want to put my whole career on. I want to put my life on it. I want to put Cobourg Papa's house on it.
Woo! Whoa! I've been in that house. That's a nice house. It's a nice house to put up. What is?
What's he eating over there?
Yo, Cobourg Papa, what are you eating? He's not eating anything. What do you think of that whole JT Miller saga that it's gotten to this point? We saw that media avail where he wasn't really saying much to anybody, and it seems like people are thinking that he's checked out right now.
I mean, have you ever not been wanted by your boss? Like, I haven't actually had that situation. But he's going to work.
Nope.
He's going to work every day. And I think, like the writing's on the wall a little bit that maybe the problem might be you. And I'm not even saying it is you.
Are you trying to tell me something, Steve?
No, but I'm just saying.
Gonna get traded.
You're doing great, man. I feel like when you go to work, even if you're...
This might be my last show, everybody.
Julian, if your job is to play hockey, you want to feel good at work. And I just think it has not been a good work environment. And so I don't know how it got this far. How does anything spiral out of control? But it's spiraled out of control. And look, I'm not saying the trade's happening tonight, although it could. But I do think it's gotten to the point of almost no return here. So one of them's going to move, I would think, and I think it's going to be Miller, and that's why Pettersson drops down to a 1.
It's the right decision, man. I think just in my opinion, I think if it gets to that point, I think Elias Pettersson's a really talented player. I know some people like to wonder if he really has that dog in him. If I have to pick between both, give me the younger guy, still has a ceiling to go to. Miller's not the first time we've heard attitude issues with him and the way that he is. Like, I don't know. I think it's the right move if it gets to that point.
The hard part is that sports isn't like our job. No. And it's actually good to have a guy who's maybe a little bit like one screw loose or whatever you want to call it. Someone who's so intense, so competitive, because it's part of what can make the team good. Now, it doesn't make it always for a healthy environment.
Fair.
It doesn't make for always a healthy, well-adjusted individual.
No.
But the weird part about our sport, and it's such an intense sport, obviously, is that sometimes it's good to be that way. But in this case, I just think it's gone too far and too long.
Like, it's one thing if that individual is loose and what he's doing is constructive to everyone else being good around him and being better.
We weren't talking about this last year. Same guy on the team, same problem existing in quiet instead of in public.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about it because they were winning. That's the other thing about sports. As soon as you stop winning, everyone starts looking around and go like, oh, hey, you're the problem. This sucks. But when you're winning, you can't complain, right? It doesn't matter if you're playing 10 minutes a night.
That's it. They were winning last year. What are they doing now? It's a lot of complaining going around right now. They have to do something with this situation before it gets worse. It's not to say it can't get better. Maybe they find a way to coexist. Maybe neither of them get traded. But right now, I don't know. I totally understand moving on from JT Miller.
we're in agreement.
I mean, when have we ever not been in agreement?
Anytime there's a food discussion. Whatever
no.
you like, I don't like. It's just kind of a rule and vice versa.
Some people put pepper on their food. Some people don't. Well, you put pepper on your food. That's all you put on your food.
We're not doing this right now.
Not doing this right.
I'm not anti-spice. I'm just,
That's okay.
yeah.
I love your palate anyway.
Everything comes out my eyes. Like if we had like, if we had like medium wings right now, I would be like sweating and not.
Medium wings?
I can't handle it.
Okay. All right. So when I eventually have you over at my parents' place, we'll ease up on the
Yeah,
the
you're
sauce.
gonna have to dial it back for me.
So we're not giving you any of the jerk chicken, huh? We're not giving you any of the spicy food?
It depends what you want me to look like at your dinner table within 5 minutes. I mean, it's not that I'm unwilling to eat these things. It's just that it's not going to be good for anyone around me.
Okay, we mentioned like a couple names off the trade board list. There may be there's some other guys who have ever been like thrown around. Is there anyone else who wants to mention a name? What about you? Pittsburgh Penguins? No, Hockey Night in Canada jersey. Yes. Give me a name. Nick Robertson.
Oh, I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it. 5.
Oh. Why five?
I just think there's still a world he doesn't get moved, but I certainly think it's way more likely than not that he does.
Man.
I didn't want to put Papa's house on Nick Robertson. It felt irresponsible if I had to pulled out the CJ8 in that case.
All right. I see. I think you're the Carolina Hurricanes hat guy. Yeah, man.
The Leafs?
Oh, the Canes.
Canes.
The Canes. That's not a player name. We're gonna have an ask. We're gonna have an ask CJ segment.
Just wait, no,
so we can have that.
Nah, let's.
Oh, you want to do it now?
I don't like rules, man. Let's
get him in now.
So
Who doesn't like rules? Yeah.
So the Carolina Hurricanes, they were trying to get Elias Pettersson again. So very recently. So that is a sign to me they're doing something. And in that case, obviously they didn't get the trade done. But I think it tells you, A, they're going to get a center, I think. And B, even though Frederik Andersen is coming back today from injured reserve, I still think they're going to trade for a goaltender or find another means to acquire a goaltender by the deadline. So are you a hardcore Canes fan? Yeah. How? No, just... Yeah, yell it.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're going to get you
All
a mic. We're
right.
gonna get
We
you
need
a
this
mic.
recorded for posterity.
Yeah, we're going to get you a mic, buddy. We're going to get you a mic. Does the mic work? It's not working.
I think I turned it off. There we go.
Issues.
I ended up meeting Steve in the Walmart in North Oshawa, randomly, with my wife, who's sitting right in front of me, very embarrassed.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and at the time, his wife was with him, SL, and I said, "This is very awkward." And then she turned around, or she said, "No, it's not. Don't worry about it." And then she turned around and saw me in a Sens sweater, and she said, "Oh, yes, it is." So no, I actually, when the Melnick stuff happened and they started firing everyone out the door.
I thought you meant his death. I'm like,
No,
when the Melnick
no,
stuff
no.
happened.
Whoa, hey.
When they started trading everyone out, like when they...
Sorry, he did just recently die.
Sorry. When they started doing that, I actually took like a year off of being a fan, and I watched every team and tried to find a team I kind of was with. And it took a while, but I actually kind of settled on Carolina.
Wow, and has
Who's
it
your favorite player?
On Carolina or in general?
On Carolina.
On Carolina right now, probably Jarvis. Sorry, Steve. Patrick Marleau was the greatest Kane of all time.
That's okay.
In general, Daniel Briere, but...
So, are you, like, and I don't mean this, I'm not coming at you on this, but are you actually a fan now? Like, are you emotionally invested?
Absolutely diehard.
I thought this was impossible
So did I.
to, like, change. I mean, midway through your life. Like,
I couldn't believe it because, like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to feel the way I did about the Senators with any other franchise. Even if I'm, like,
you can find love again.
It's real, CJ. It's real.
What a love story.
I can't believe
All
the
because you met
August-
Steve in a Walmart in North Oshawa in 2017.
Yeah.
What would have
And
happened
then-
if that didn't happen?
CJ, just one last thing. Sorry, I'm
yeah,
hogging
that's
all the
okay.
time here.
That's
CJ,
okay.
by the way, we're the couple who came to Montreal and we kept yelling Cobourg.
Wow.
Okay.
And you guys shouted us out on the next episode, so thanks for that.
Okay.
You guys are invested in the SDP. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you
I
guys so
not so
much.
sure, but
Thank you guys so much, guys. Does anyone else want to mention a player or ask a question to CJ? Now's your time. There's another. We've got the mic, or we're going to use
Matt
that mic. Or we
Rempe's
just-
ready to go.
You want to? Do you want to? Okay.
Steve, this is a pay cut for you, but you're now the
Nope.
night guy.
There's. Nope. Where are you going? There's someone with a Leafs jersey who's literally has their
Matt
hands
Rempe.
up. No.
Yanni Gord.
Yanni Gord.
CJ8!
Yeah. Where's he going?
Yanni
I thought I
Gord.
was asking the question. No, we can't. To Toronto. Yanni Gord to Toronto.
I think that's very likely. I think like that. I don't think he's their main target, but I think he's in the zone that it makes a lot of sense.
I like that.
Good.
I like that.
I'm fired
That's
up.
a good move for them.
Are you okay with that, Steve? I mean,
Yanni Gord's a good center.
I don't know if Adam's going to let me talk anymore today. I think my privileges are bad. No, Yanni Gord is, for some reason, listen, you love what you love.
Yeah.
And I love Yanni Gord. I want him to be a Leaf bad.
Yeah.
I want him to be a Leaf bad.
do you know what Yanni Gord hates?
What?
Hopefully not the Leafs.
Losing. Like, that's what I like about him as a player. No, Steve, that wasn't a shot at the Leafs. I'm saying this is a compliment.
It could be interpreted as
That was me saying, be still my beating heart.
Okay. I thought you thought I was like somehow, I was like, no, I'm saying what's great
no.
about him is he chews nails, man. He hates, he doesn't just go home and go like, all right, now it's summer.
Yep.
He's not that kind of guy.
No.
The Leafs need more players where you look at them every now and then and go, there's something wrong with that guy.
All right. Is there anyone else? Yeah, the girl in the Matt Rempe jersey.
Do you want a trade or not trade?
Whatever you feel.
Okay. There's something I've been really wondering about, and I wonder if you have insight.
Okay.
Canadian goaltending. It's a thing. It's
Yes.
not what it used to be. So the easy question is why? Like, is there something in the Canadian goalie development systems? Is there something at the junior levels? Why has Canadian goaltending gotten so mid, and can it be fixed, or is it just status quo?
It probably can be fixed, but I don't think it's happening soon. Because my impression is that we're seeing now, it makes sense, right? You grow up, and then we're starting to see people in their 20s. This is the result of what's happened. And I think it's a few things. It's very expensive. Hockey's very expensive. Let's just call it straight out. Anyone who's played or has kids involved, it's not a easy pastime. Goaltending is even that much more expensive. And it sounds like a lot of parents don't want their kids to be goalies. Maybe the stress of it. Maybe there's two on a team, but only one plays at a time. So ice time can be a challenge. There's a lot of private lessons. And so I think the issue stems from cost and availability. And it does sound like Hockey Canada as an organization has just not done the sort of specialized training programs for elite goalies the way they're doing in Russia, even Sweden, Finland, and the other places that keeps producing goaltenders. So I think it's like a very big systemic issue without an easy fix. And it doesn't look good for Canada. I mean, like, think of, not sure how old you are, but anytime Canada's got into a big international men's tournament in my lifetime, it's been like guaranteed Hall of Famer in net, right? Between Waugh, Brodeur, I mean, even Curtis Joseph made the Hall of Fame. Obviously, Luongo, Carey Price, and we just don't have that right now. Now we gotta hope now. It's just like, hopefully the puck hits this guy, or else maybe we're watching the U.S. celebrate the Four Nations face-off in 3 weeks' time.
I don't know if this crowd wants that, Siege.
I'm agnostic a little bit, but I'm still born in Canada, so and I have a
get
pulse.
that. For sure.
I got a heart in here.
Any other questions? Justin is going to pass around the mic, and he's not going to hog the time with it. Sorry, buddy. What's your name, man?
It's Mike.
What's up, man?
Not much.
Friday night, BP.
Just chilling.
The Canadians UFAs, like the pending UFAs, Savard, Evans.
Yeah,
What's
up
going
with
to
that?
happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Canadians are on one of the hottest streaks in the NHL right now.
Yeah, are you a Habs fan?
I am.
I have my sense is that David Savard is not long for Montreal. I think even with the way they've played after making the trade for Carrier, it feels as though, barring that there isn't some big injury between now and the deadline, which could change their plans, I think Savard is, he's gone, basically. He's gone. Jake Evans is a little more interesting. Like he, as you would know, is a homegrown and raised guy. He's been part of the organization for a long, long time. I don't think his next contract, while he is going to get a raise, is going to be, it's not necessarily going to break the bank for them. And so I do think they'd like to keep him if they could. And the Canadians, it's a great spot to be in. Like I think they're the hottest team, maybe top 5 since start of November-ish.
They've been really good.
I saw a stat, and I see the stat, and I can kind of remember it, but I forget the exact numbers. So just trust me. I saw this online, and there's nothing wrong on X. That's
Believe
all
it.
true.
CJ said it.
But they're getting to a spot where like they haven't made the playoffs in a while, and you don't want to be sending too many guys out the door. It's almost symbolic, right? It's not even about asset management at that point. It's like you're actually, because as much as I make trade boards and we just go willy-nilly, like, yeah, Yanni Gourde definitely getting traded. I mean, Yanni Gourde's got kids. Like, there's like actually, this guy's actually going to get like relocated on a moment's notice and be flying. And there's a human element to this. And so I think the Canadians are weighing that right now. My sense is like, they're like, wow, if we're really pushing here, like how much do we want to remove? Because, well, yes, it's nice to have more draft picks. It's probably nicer to have harmony in your room when your team's playing so well.
Who else would like to ask CJ a question? Person next to Mike.
All right. I'm a Sens fan.
Okay.
We got a lot of Sens reps in here.
Who's repping the Sens tonight?
Back here?
Okay.
Let's go.
There's a few people.
We're brothers.
We tried our
Brothers.
We've had about a year of Steos so far, and we're desperate to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Can we expect anything? Because Steos does not give off much. It's hard to get a read. Any help coming for the playoff push?
Man.
You take this one to start.
And I still think if they do anything, considering how close they are to the salary cap limit, I think it's going to be something where they buy low. If you think of the assets they have, there's the whole first-round pick issue, right? They have to give one up between now and 2026. Are the Senators ready? Is there an asset out there that's ready for them to say, hey, you know what? We're willing to put Carter Yakupchuk in a deal. I have a lot of questions about how much Steve Staios, how much he's willing to be all in on going in at the deadline. I asked him straight up, would he be interested in adding to his forward group? I made the point that I think since mid-November, this team has actually been near the bottom in goals scored. And Steve made the point that you know what? We have all these options up front already, and look, fine. You have Brady Tkachuk, you have Tim Stützle and all these guys, but maybe you could use another winger. But I don't know if they're looking to do that unless you buy low. I think if you're the Ottawa Senators, things could change. I would think you probably would need to look at guys who can get cheap, maybe for a low draft pick, low salary, who you can accommodate into your team. When John
This doesn't sound exciting if you're a Senators fan.
But it's realistic. I'm sorry, I deal in realism. I think when John Klingberg was linked to the Ottawa Senators, as likely as that was, cheap, I don't know how much he signed for in Edmonton today, but not a lot of money, adding depth to your ranks, that makes perfect sense to me for what Steve Staios would be looking around for. That's not to say he wouldn't do that, where he'd look at a bigger target and go all in. But I think with where his team's at right now, I totally see him buying low.
But I'll tell you, if we're doing this show a year from now, and if they miss the playoffs this year, the heat is going to be
it should be.
And then next year we're going to be they got to do something big.
Absolutely,
so,
I agree with that.
I don't know. I think there's
should.
danger in being too calm, too patient.
Here's my thing.
They're treading on the danger line for me for that.
Here's my thing. What I'm just saying now, and that's what I think they're going to do. If I'm the Senators, I completely feel that heat, and I want to do something. It's been 7 seasons since they made the playoffs. You have this exciting core that is they're in it. There have been so many seasons where they get to November and it's already over. whether it's before the deadline or this offseason, something big has to happen where you look at this team and then you're like, you know what? They could actually make the playoffs. I think Steve has to do something.
In sports, you're not just selling $28 beers. You got to be selling winning or you got to be selling hope. And they have no hope to sell. They have to win. And they're not going to win with that roster. So I think they need to start making some trades.
I think we need to put that phrase on a T-shirt. We've made that.
It's true, though.
No, but you're absolutely right. That's why we should sell it.
Think about what the business is.
Yep.
Like, you won't be like, oh, this mid team remains mid. Let's go spend our Tuesday night in the freezing cold driving to Canada.
Those drives to Canada are
Who wants to
not fun.
drop a couple $100 on that? Like, nobody. You have to spice it up a bit. And I'm actually not picking on the Sens. This
No,
is
I
for
get it.
all teams.
Right.
They face this problem. Like, the Leafs are gone the other way, right? They don't win in the playoffs. They've done tons of winning for 8 years. It's getting boring for people. People are bored. They're like, hey, wait, win in the playoffs or mess off. I think one of them's sitting over here.
Yeah, right over there.
Don't give Steve a microphone, though. We'll never get it back.
I think it's going to get to a point where someone from the core that they've built up is going to have to move for somebody. Who would you move?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't get paid enough to say that. Like, I don't know.
Can we add a little more money to what are you paying them?
No, I'm just like, I'm saying the GM's paid a lot to figure that out. It's because it's not a. I know how the internet works. If I say something and then they clip it and then I'm not saying it. I actually don't have the answer, truthfully. This is like I don't have anyone's test the copy up here, and I don't know what to say. So,
all right. Any more questions? All right. Okay, we'll go to Buddy on the side.
Hi.
What's up, man?
I was at the Oshawa SDP show, and I was the guy that asked whether Tavares was going to Robidas Island, and right after that, he went on a crazy heater. So you're welcome.
When was that Oshawa show? Earlier this season, or
Yeah, it was a few months ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my question's about Tavares. How low does his cap hit have to go next season for the Leafs to consider keeping him?
If it had a 5 on it, I think they would do it today. But that's not to say that's not answering the spirit of your question, because that's not to say they won't pay him $6 million. But I do think essentially there's a few contracts out there, like Claude Giroux makes 6.25 times 3.
I will have to double check
Yes,
that.
I think he does. Anyway,
something like that.
Joe Pavelski late in Dallas got a 3-year deal at about $6 million.
Yeah.
And then, Kopitar's got $7 million times 2.
Yeah.
So if you're Tavares, you're pointing at those. That's roughly where you want.
Yeah.
But then you're probably like, hey, the cap's going up, so
Yeah,
I
give
want
me
a little
more money.
juice. The Leafs, if he takes something in the 5s, I think it'll get done. Honestly, this feels like one that I mean, he's injured right now. Like, there's always some unknowns. I feel like he's going to be a Leaf. I think he's invested so much in this. He's moved back to Toronto. Him and his wife have had 3 kids since he became a Leaf. They got a nice house. Obviously, they're around family all the time. As much as money is a priority, I feel like there'll be a happy medium somewhere in there. And so my best guess, unless everything goes terribly, if the Leafs get swept in round 1 or something like that, then maybe it's not John's fault. It's just like we got to change. Like it just could be the bad timing, but. I don't see this getting undone over money or something like that.
I don't see them getting swept in the first round either.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that. Who knows?
What? They're not going to get swept in the first round. If they get swept in the first round, you get mad at me. Anyone else want to ask a question? Okay.
We got a couple of...
Oh, yeah. Keep them coming. Keep them coming, guys.
I just have a super quick question.
Yeah, man. What up?
I just wanted to ask a real reporter, because I'm getting conflicting information. I just want clarification on a trade that went down that I just can't. No one seems to get right. Who got the 2nd round pick in the Line trade?
What's going on here?
Wait, the Line A Columbus trade?
I just want to make Adam mad.
Oh, okay. Give him a mic. All right, no one who's listening to this podcast on video is going to hear that. Guy on the Senator's chair. How you doing, man?
Hey, so did you just take a straight bullet at him?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You're just over there eating your BP, having a nice night, and bam!
Do you want to go fight him? No, don't fight him. I'm kidding. All right, let's get to the gentleman in the back.
Former
What's the
McDonald's
question?
employee, actually.
Hey, shout out.
Hey, so as the other Senators fan in the room, I just wanted to say, go Sens, go. And also, Julian, you're doing a great job
thank
filling
you.
Ian Mendes' shoes with the Athletics. So congrats on the new gig.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Nonsense question. I wanted to ask CJ, Taylor Hall, chances of a trade, and what could they expect to get back for Halsey? Thanks.
That's a CJ8. 1,000% Taylor Hall is getting traded from the worst team in the league. And he's on an expiring deal. It's time. I don't think they're getting much back, though. I mean, because he's $6 million on the cap, like maybe third, fourth rounder. I think at this point it would be about doing right by him, like finding what'll be curious, and I know he has some degree of trade protection. It'll be where does he want to play, and he's pretty well traveled at this point. But I would imagine there's probably 3 or 5 places he's interested in going, and he will be dealt, or else blow up the trade board and cancel all future shows.
Let's not cancel any of those shows. I like doing them. Anyway, next question.
So this is about Ryan O'Reilly.
O'Reilly.
How likely is a trade? And if he was traded, would he consider going to Toronto since Berube's there?
There's a lot of people said no to that. Okay. What do you think about that?
So there's a lot of misconceptions about Ryan O'Reilly's time in Toronto. And it was very brief, right? Because the Leafs did try to... What year was that, Steve? Help me out.
23.
So Ryan O'Reilly comes to the Leafs at the 2023 trade deadline. They actually win a playoff series, the first time that had happened in quite some time.
Yeah.
Steve was still in high school prior to the last time that had happened. I was still not going on dates at that point in time. But the Leafs tried to re-sign him, and he went to Nashville. And he didn't. I don't think he loved it here, or broadly here, Toronto. But I don't think it was like he hated the Leafs or the media or even the fans. But I think he found it like a little kind of, how do you put it, like lame? Like I think it was like almost too serious for him. I don't want to. I'm trying to not put words in his mouth, but I think like he just found it a little too like not like he likes to have a good time. Uptight. Yeah. Like I think and I think there's a sense that has changed because since that time there's been some changes in the team. You have Craig Berube as the coach, who obviously they won a Stanley Cup together in St. Louis, and so I don't think he wants to move on from Nashville. I think he's like totally happy there. But I'm not sure it would be like this disastrous outcome either. So it's a long way of saying I don't think it's off the table, and we'll have to see. I don't. The question is, Nashville doesn't want draft picks back for him. So if you're the Leafs, like, are you trading Fraser Minton and something else maybe to get it? Like, is that worth doing? And maybe it is. He's still signed for 2 more years. But I think it's got to be more of a sort of a real hockey trade, and I don't know if that'll get done. But the Leafs are definitely interested. I don't think he's as completely opposed to it as seems to be the sentiment. And let's see what happens. We got what day is today? 17th?
We're the 17th.
So we got 14 days, and then 28 days, and then 7 days. We have...
It's a funny way to do math.
49, 7 weeks.
Okay.
Trade deadline is 7 weeks today.
I trust you.
So we got 7 weeks to see what happens there. But I wouldn't rule it out.
Next question. Do we have any other ones? Okay.
That's not a funny way to do math.
No, I just like...
14 days in January, 28 in February, and then 7 till the deadline.
Okay, you could just do 42 plus 7.
I grew up in the 80s, bud.
Yeah.
Pre-calculator.
All right. I wasn't alive in the 80s. All right.
So I got to ask about Mikael Granlund and the likelihood that he gets moved and hopefully to Toronto.
You have to ask me that.
Yeah.
And hopefully to Toronto.
I need to know.
Why do you need to know this?
Because I think he's the best option. He's gettable, he's affordable, and I think he's a difference maker.
I didn't know if you were like a big Finnish hockey fan or you have his postage stamp. They actually put him on a postage stamp in Finland back in the day. He is very gettable. He's also open to staying in San Jose. It's going to be a weird one there because the Sharks are also right at the bottom of the standings like Chicago. But I don't think the door is totally closed necessarily on him staying with the Sharks. But, the truth is the truth. I mean, he's a real piece, and most teams are looking for center help right now, and he's scored at just less than a point a game over the last 2 seasons combined. So it's definitely possible. He's on the Leafs list. I don't get the sense he's at the top of their list. But, the reality of the trade deadline is everyone makes these lists, and everyone's got a plan, and then all of a sudden, like, bang, 3 trades happen on Thursday night, and you're like, oh shit, we didn't make one of those trades.
No, we didn't.
And so I think the lists, while it's a nice idea, I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility either. But I don't get the sense. I think if the Leafs could choose like what they could really get, I think it's either Brock Nelson or O'Reilly. I think it would be, again, they would prefer Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid. But I mean, within the things that are likely to happen in the universe, I think Nelson or O'Reilly would probably be their top 2 choices.
Okay. There's one person at the far back. There's 2 people at the far back. Whoa, we'll you don't have to shout. We'll get you the mic.
Where's Justin?
Right here.
All right. Cool.
He's so close to 1,000 points. What are the odds of Phil Kessel signing with the team?
He tried, man. He wanted so badly to come back this year, and it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, you might have noticed if someone's following him on IG, he's just a poker guy. So like, Phil did want to play this year though, even though he took all of last season off. Obviously, he went to Vancouver on a PTO, didn't end up signing there. But Phil, the dream was not dead for Phil until about November, and then immediately all of his social media content was poker. So the man's transitioned well, and he's got 3 Stanley Cup rings.
He's fine,
and he's probably got $100 million in career earnings. So
I don't. Look, if I'm a fan of a contending team, I don't need Phil Kessel back on my team.
No, but like you're saying, he's fine. If he wants to play pro hockey, I can. Who are we to tell him what to do?
I mean, if he wants to do that, that's fine. But like, when's the last time Phil Kessel was on? 23? Was that the last year?
Yeah,
he
won
playing?
the cup with Vegas
he won the
as
cup
a
with
healthy
Vegas.
scratch in the playoffs.
Older player. It's been a while since he's played. Like,
players are the last to know. I mean,
Sure.
maybe journalists are the last to know too, because most of my buddies that aren't in the industry anymore got fired. So
Leave
I mean, maybe it's most people don't get a graceful exit from their career. Is kind of what I'm saying.
leave the game before the game leaves you and all that, right? Like,
Well, and then he just jumped into poker. So
I think that's fine for him. Anyway, or hot dogs. Sure. We have another person in the back.
To preface my question, I'd just like to say I hate Ted Leonsis and the Washington Capitals, and I miss Cap Friendly. But anyway,
is that why you hate the Caps?
Oh yeah!
Wow!
Damn!
So what do you think about Luke Kunin?
Ooh.
He's a player that plays in the NHL for the Sharks. I don't have deep thoughts about Luke Kunin.
He's an expiring contract. He shoots right. He's got some decent offensive ability.
Oh my God, I'm stumped.
Really?
Well, I'm aware that he's a player in the NHL, so I'm not completely stumped, but I have nothing smart to say beyond that.
Okay. So, okay.
Which team are you a Leafs fan or?
Yes.
Well, I know. I don't know. You might have lost a bet. Like, there's a lot of. Like, wow, there's.
What? Luke Kunin.
No, but I'm saying not everyone wearing a jersey. I don't want to just assume. We do a big family skate with my family, and my nephew collects jerseys. And he's got everything. He's got Arizona Coyotes jerseys. And so, like, we all throw on a jersey. It doesn't mean...
That's true.
Like, I was rocking an old school Oilers jersey. It doesn't mean I'm cheering for the Oilers. I had to skate in a jersey. So I'm just saying.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's fair. He could have lost a bet. You're right. And then decided, hey, I want Luke Kunin on my team.
No, but I just wanted to clarify.
You're right. You're good to clarify.
Do you know what? I'm going to make a phone call on Luke Kunin. And I promise, if you listen to our show on Monday, I will.
Yes.
I'm gonna have.
I love that. Yeah.
Scouts honor.
Yes.
Scouts honor. I am going to have something to report on Luke Kunin's likely trade value.
Yes.
Whether the Leafs have any interest, and I'm gonna learn some fun facts about him too. So please listen on Monday, and I will give you a more satisfactory answer than I can manage today.
Oh,
that's a low blow.
Whoa, that's too far.
Those,
and you didn't even have the mic with. That's too far.
For those that
you should have waited your turn.
And I recognize some of you are just here because you know my dad, or you feel like you were worried that the tickets wouldn't sell or something. But so I assume you haven't listened to the podcast. But there was a NHL player, Jeff Carter.
Yes.
And one of the very early Ask CJ questions was what his middle name was.
Yes.
And I didn't have the answer that day.
Yes.
And then it just became a thing.
Yeah.
And I never revealed it on air because I felt like it would always be disappointing.
Yeah.
So he asked what Luke Kunin's middle name is. That's going to be hard to find out.
Yeah, jeez.
I do know Jeff Carter's middle name, but I'm not prepared to say it.
Okay.
Can't do it.
Okay.
You don't want to find out some things like you don't want the answer at.
Yeah, we don't want that right away.
Because you know his middle name's just going to be like Mitchell or like, you know what I mean? Like it's just going to be a name. And then you're going to be like, oh, okay, now I have that information and my life is no richer.
We could say it's not Mitchell.
I almost said Robert, and then I was worried that Robert was going to think Robert. I just mean it's just going to be some
Yeah,
name.
give me some random name. I get that. But yeah, I have never been more excited for a report on Luke Kunin in my life.
We might lead the show with that on
I'm
Monday.
down to lead with Luke Kunin.
And those that weren't at this show are going to be like, what
the
are
hell
they
is
doing?
going on? All right, any other questions? Keep them coming, man. What's up?
Where do you think Jonathan Toews is going to land?
Ooh.
Okay, do you want real answers or do you want like what do you want from this question?
The most
So-
likely outcome. Okay.
Because I hate saying this, because I really like Jonathan Toews. I can actually tell a nice Jonathan Toews story about a personal interaction we had. But my sense, honestly, is he's going to have trouble coming back and playing. So as much as I don't want to be sitting here publicly doubting the man, but he hasn't played hockey in 2 years. 2 years, right? Yeah, coming up on 2 years. He's had significant injury or really medical condition that he doesn't have full idea about. And he's 36, which is very young in human life, but very old in NHL terms. So I think that the odds are very much stacked against him. If he comes back, though, I'm willing to say I see him coming back in Winnipeg, which I think would be really badass and cool. Because obviously being a local Winnipegger, what is the knock on Winnipeg? And I got to say, I actually love going to Winnipeg. I've covered the Jets a lot over the years. They don't get any free agents, right? Like the Jets, they're a little bit of the little team that could. Now they're right at the top of the standings as we're recording this now. But I could see him, because of some personal relationships he has, if he comes back, I would love, I'm a sentimentalist at heart. I would love to see that. You know, he's probably got Winnipeg Jets PJ photos from when he's a kid, right? So I hope it's there. But I think he's facing an uphill climb. Like needless to say, it's really hard to play in the NHL. And he spent part of last year surfing in Costa Rica. If you've read the story he did in GQ, he was gone to India and you know, he's had to really explore some, you know, non-Western traditional medicinal practices that caused him to not eat for days. I just think it's going to be physically very difficult for him to play again.
I think we got time for two more questions. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
This is Sawyer.
Yeah.
That was his question. How are you?
What's up, Sawyer?
Not much.
I'm so bad with names, and I remember your name, Sawyer. This is just let me bask in this glow for a moment. Thank you.
It's a unique name. Yeah.
It's a cool name.
I'm a Florida Panther fan.
Okay.
Not a bandwagon Florida Panther fan. My whole life.
Booing him, man.
Can we get confirmation from your booth that you're not a bandwagon?
100% since the 90s.
Okay.
Since the 90s.
Since the 90s.
So were you watching them in '96?
Yeah, I used to say I made a poor life decision at 6 years old, like
Wow.
like Leaf fans did, but
ouch.
But
he isn't wrong. I mean,
it pays off eventually. It's just resilience. It's resilience. Yeah.
For sure, resilience.
And Bill Zito.
Absolutely.
So I was just wondering what Aaron Ekblad's AAV is in Florida next year, or Aaron Ekblad UFA AAV.
Ooh.
I don't think he's coming back.
Ooh.
I'm not throwing a CJ.
You're not putting a house on it?
No. Papa, you can sleep in your bed tonight. Don't worry. We're not going to lose the house over this. No, I don't think. I don't know. I got a bad feel. Here's the thing. They obviously have Sam Bennett, who's pending UFA. Yeah, you'd be cheering for him if the Leafs signed him, I bet. I'm just saying, like he's the classic one of those players that you hate him until the minute
you need him.
He's like, oh wow, we got him. Yes, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened.
100%.
So I don't know. I don't have his AAV, but I do think Sawyer that I look at the Panthers are in a great spot because everybody wants to play there. You know what I mean? So they can sort of say take it or leave it to a degree with with their players. And obviously they lost some good guys after last year's Cup run, but I could see them letting them walk.
Very interesting.
Panthers fan since the 90s, man. That's
die hard.
I have to say, I used to travel, basically, I went to every Leaf game for a lot of years. Going to Panthers games used to be my absolute, I hated it. I'm not kidding, it was the worst of every arena. And then these last few seasons, I was there when the Leafs played them in the playoffs. I was at the Cup final the last few years. Like, it's amazing.
The fans support there is amazing.
It's suddenly legit, it's kind of cool to see that happen. I mean, Nashville was once terrible, and now most players would give a non-essential organ to play for the Predators. So, I mean, this is what, because obviously Fort Lauderdale is a great place to live, and that team has legit fan base now.
For sure. What's crazy what winning does to a team. Is that it, Adam? You're gonna.
I got a double-sided question here because I want to jump on the Florida thing.
Okay.
Chances of Sam Bennett signing in Florida?
Low.
I have heard that that he has an appetite to come home, and home is here, by the way, at some point before his career ends. Not to play for the Cobourg Cougars, although I'm sure he would. Go Cougs. But for the Toronto Maple Leafs, what are the chances on the CJ 1 to 5 and also 8 scale? Would he come home? Because they're going to need another center.
There's definitely a fit there. I mean, like, there's just so many. Here's the thing. Like, as much as we sit here in February or mid-January in this case, like, and we're like, oh, we know what's going to happen in the summer. This is an emotional sport. Like, whatever happens in April or May or June, good or bad, influences so many decisions. You spend years as an NHL GM, like, thinking rationally, and then your team loses 4 out of 7 games in a 2-week span, and you're like, holy shit, everything's got to change right now. And so the truth is, the fit makes sense, Adam. I don't know for sure that Sam wants to play here, but the Leafs have seen enough of him to know what he does well and see the fit. And honestly, I don't see him taking less to stay in Florida either, which a lot of players do because of the tax reasons and the sun. And
right.
They can go to practice in a golf cart, like actually.
Yes, they can.
I know.
And
Yes,
look
they
at what
can.
we're slogging through. I mean,
Go to Etobicoke to practice. Like, come on.
Man.
All right.
man.
The traffic. Okay, now the last thing I want to know.
Okay.
Signing today, I'm surprised nobody asked about it. You had Dallas, you had Edmonton, and you had Toronto in on John Klingberg. Why did he choose Edmonton?
He wanted to go somewhere where he thought he had a chance to play, and the Oilers clearly have needs on their right side of their blue line. And, I think that is the beginning and the end of it. He wanted to play for a good team, too. And so, obviously, Edmonton, if you look at it right now, like, if I had to bet, I'll do it. I'm going to bet my dad's house the Oilers are going to win the Cup. I think... I'm just kidding. I'm not a bettor. But I do... If I had to identify one team, though, like, if you said to me, CJ, who's going to win the Cup?
I was going to take that bet, too.
I'm still sticking with the Oilers, which was
nice
my
house.
preseason pick. And so I think if you're John Klingberg, it's like, hey, this team might need me, A, and B, they might go to a Stanley Cup. And he's trying to rebuild his career. I don't know if you know much about his surgery. It's no joke. They literally detached his bone from his hip joint on both sides, and they resurfaced the bone and somehow put it back in place. I realize that's not a very... Anyone who knows something about the human body in here, that was an abomination. But that's, in general terms, that's what he had happen to him. 13 months ago, he was skating on, there's literally a skate treadmill, and it's only today he finally signed. The rehab that goes into coming back from that is insane. So he's trying to rebuild himself too, right? Because there's, I feel like I've already said the bad stuff about Jonathan Toews. I'm cheering for John Klingberg. He's a nice guy. But there's a world where he plays 5 games and it's just like, this isn't working for wherever he plays, right? So he's got to go somewhere that is going to give him a chance to give him, he's only 32, to build his career back up.
And it's probably good that there's no trips to Sweden in his future with the NHL team.
Oh.
I'm sorry, but it happened. All right, now CJ, we all know, and this is the last thing I want to say, we all know CJ is a die-hard Blue Jays fan.
Oh, no.
Irrational Blue Jays fan. Do we have any other irrational Blue Jays fans in here?
Oh,
well,
man.
everybody's out. Okay.
Oh.
CJ, what do you think happened with Roki Sasaki while you and Julian were on the stage?
Well, I am accustomed to seeing the Blue Jays finish second for every free agent of note in the last few years. So I assume they got another silver medal in this pursuit.
What do you, so you that is that what you think? Is that your final answer?
100%.
And you're right.
Honestly, so I saw that.
Did he sign with the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Signed with the Dodgers.
I saw that come up. Here's the thing. I saw that come up way early in the recording, and I was not going to tell you because we were having so much fun. And I did. This is purposely. I did not want to tell you that.
Here's the thing. I was expecting this.
I know, but like, I don't want to be like, oh, we signed with the Dodgers. And everyone's like, oh. I don't want to ruin the vibe.
I sent a tweet when I angry tweeted during the Jays playoff loss to Minnesota when they pulled the pitcher Barrios,
Jose Barrios, yeah,
a little too soon, and then I was told it ended up on the Blue Jays GM chat.
Oh,
because it went so viral, and they were considering calling me to be like, "Come on, guy! Like, do you really need to be taking shots at us?" Like, so.
Man,
I don't know how true that story is. I heard that third hand, but anyway.
If they let you cover the Blue Jays, they let you do.
No, I wouldn't. I don't. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
My life's good.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because I can't be a hockey fan the way I would be if I was. So I'm not going to cover the NFL. I'm not going to cover the Blue Jays. I just want to love the other sports.
I love it.
So I'm just a mad Jays fan right now. And Adam, thank you for delivering exact expected news that I expected.
Okay. Are you going to a game this year? Final question.
No.
Why did we let Adam get like five questions in? He just took over.
I've laid down the law.
I said last question, you got 5.
I've laid down the law.
Come on. Craziness. Okay. Only because my intention was for, when I said 2 questions, at least like one more fan to get a question. Can we get one final question from a fan? Can we get one final one? Just one final one from somebody. It could be anybody, just one last one. There's one last one. There's a bunch of hands.
And can it be weirder than the Luke Kunin question?
It can be. The weirder, the better for the final question.
Is it on?
We're giving it to Kane's hat guy? Okay, this is the last question.
We batted around. I'm back up. It's fine. Whatever.
It's fine.
Okay, I'm making this Leafs-centric even though I'm a Canes fan because this is... Due to these guys, I think I follow the team closer than, honestly, the Carolina Hurricanes sometimes. Okay, Mitch Marner.
I was waiting for
nobody
this
asked
name.
About him, but we're at January 17th. He's been eligible for an extension since July 1st. How much on your scale, CJ, is there concern that there's not been a deal done? And is there any way he's walking to July 1st?
Every single day that passes, it gets more likely he goes to July 1st. And part of that, it just makes sense, right? I mean, if you're the player, the beauty about signing an early extension is you take away all your risk. But at this point, like, the leverage is clearly in Mitch's position. He's already played 46 games, I think, of this season without that contract next year. I think it's not 100% by any means, because I do believe he wants to stay in Toronto. I think they want to keep him, but there is definitely a difference of opinion about what he should or needs to be paid to make that happen. And so I could see him going to July 1st. I think this could be if you like off-season chaos, I think this could be a chaotic off-season in the NHL. And Mitch would be the number 1 or 2 story, depending what happens with Rantanen on that day.
I don't know why I see Mitch Marner in Chicago. Does that make sense? Is that weird? Is that bad?
You're on an island here, bud. I didn't say that.
No, I don't know. I just see it. I don't have any like intel on that. It's just
like, do you think he likes deep dish or he wants to play with Bedard? Like, what are you thinking?
Play with Bedard, a team that's going to throw out a bunch of money at him. Maybe. If the Leafs don't bring him back.
I think it could be a crazy offseason. Like,
sure.
I could see trade, like, I'm not at the point where I'm saying where he's playing that isn't Toronto. Because I still think it's most likely he's back with the Leafs. But this is business, and I don't think Mitch is afraid to wait.
I like that. Okay, I've caused enough trouble with you today. I'm sorry with the date questions. Thank you guys so much for being such a great crowd tonight, guys. This was so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Boston Pizza. Shout out Cobourg Papa one time. Shout out the STP and everyone else from the SDPN who made the trip as well. McFarland Toys, Boston Pizza for all the prizes we were able to give away today. Shout out to them as well. And again, shout out yourselves for making the trip, whether you're from Cobourg or anywhere else, to be here with us. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday nights.
The
All
Chris
right.
Johnston Show. Follow Chris on Twitter @ReporterChris and follow Julian @JKA McKenzie.
The Chris Johnston Show.